Lucky. You ready?
Yeah.
You look ready.
Fire!
Judgment time.
Let's finish this.
Mama is not the law. I'm the law.
In terms of the artistic side of things, especially doing the treatments for it and things like that, I mean, was that something that was... Did you imagine it kind of needing the 3D element to it, or was it just something that you thought was quite visceral and quite powerful anyway?
Well, I mean, the 3D element is most prevalent in the slow-mo scenes, which is a drug that is sort of rampant in Megacity 1 in the movie, and it slows people's perceptions down by, what is it, 1,000%? Whatever it is. And there's these just stunning footage of slow motion that we've all seen before. But this is done with because it's a drug. There's a very specific reason for it happening, and those scenes are. I just saw the movie for the first time yesterday actually, and those scenes are absolutely beautiful. I mean, they're so So again, I mean, from an artistic point of view, when we were talking about how that would look. Not necessarily specific things about it, but it was more the extremity of the violence that you see Dredd do. But there's also these beautiful elements in the film as well. And unfortunately, I haven't seen those in 3D, but they looked absolutely stunning on the screen that I saw it on. So it was just another case of trying to push it as far as we could to make it as good as it could be.
Were there actually any? I mean. Do you do your own stunts, Karl, or with any on-set injuries or anyone's head explode?
Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, any actor who says that he does all his own stunts is a liar, unless you're Tom Cruise. I mean, Tom Cruise actually literally does all his own stunts. I do as much as I deem to be safely possible, as much as I'm allowed. Here's the thing. If you're a lead actor in a film and you go down, it costs millions of dollars, and there's, you know, hundreds of people's jobs and livelihoods are at stake, so you have to approach it with a degree of responsibility, and certainly it's dangerous. And for example, on this film, one of the stuntmen who was doubling another character did a jump out of a hole in the side of the building onto a skate park, and severely broke his leg. They did the jump; it looked fantastic, and all the crew were clapping. He didn't get up. And I'm not sure if his fracture was a compound fracture. I don't know if bone was coming through, but he severely.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Nice.
It was really scary moment, wasn't it? When when he doesn't immediately get up, and he did fracture his leg.
Yeah, and that was him. He was done for the movie. So, but I was also grateful that these guys let me do as much as I could, and I did do a lot. Did all the riding for the bike, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It was actually quite enjoyable. We shot on the streets of Cape Town, and it's a great feeling when we got all the streets blocked off with South African motorcycle cops, and there's me absolutely gunning it, obviously breaking the law and going stupidly fast on the Lawmaster, and that was a lot of fun.
Just another day at the office, right? Just another day at the office.
Just another day at the office.
Well, yes, I mean, the slow-mo concept is absolutely fantastic, and it's very immersive. It's right there, and you really share the film with the characters in it. But I've asked lots of questions. I'm sure you have some. So the way that we'll do it is that if you have a question, please raise your hand aloft, and I will pick people out to answer. So the first one I saw was this gentleman here, all the way at the end of the row. Yes, we're going to give you a microphone. We might ask you to come forward a little bit, please.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for coming over to see us. The film looks absolutely amazing. It obviously looks like it's going to be a blockbuster. Are you hoping for sequels? And if so, will we see The Dark Judges?
We'll see a sequel if we gross above $50 million in the US. It's a simple financial equation. We're an independent movie. We sold the film to various territories. It's maths where the financiers are concerned, essentially. And if we reach a particular target, then yeah. In terms of the Dark Judges, the first time I sat down to write a Dredd script, I wrote Death and the others, Fire, Mortis, you know. And it didn't feel right for a first film. I thought it was the right thing to do. I wrote about 16 drafts of it, but it really didn't work out. You needed to have set up the city and Dredd first before you took it on what is basically a kind of riff on the Judges. You need to know what the Judges are before you can subvert them with these supernatural dark forces. And then I wrote a second script, which was about Dredd going out into the cursed earth and finding, a bit like Origins, finding the history of Megacity 1 and his own history to do with Fargo. And that was wrapped up, I guess, in the America story as well, about pro-democracy terrorists. And that one actually failed for similar reasons. It was too big, and the third time around I thought I've got to zero in on just setting up this guy in the city. If we got to make sequels, I've got a story arc now where you'd go from this one to, in a way, the origins of Dredd and Fargo in the city, and then in the third one, the city facing this strange existential attack from the Dark Judges. But I've got to say, it's an 18 certificate in the UK, it's R-rated in the States. We've got our work cut out to hit those sorts of figures, but it's in my head. Or it's not even in my head, it's in John Wagner's head, because he created this stuff. But, you know.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we have a gentleman right here at the front. With, are you wearing glasses? Yes, you are. Excellent.
Hey, I was just wondering, what was it about South Africa that drew you to film there?
When we were thinking of what Megacity 1 could be, we looked at a lot of these kind of you know, huge crime-ridden metropolises in the world, and we looked at, I don't know, Mexico City and some pictures from Sao Paulo, and Johannesburg was one of those cities, and for various reasons, language, it's quite a good place to go flight-wise, there's a crew there, and also particularly Andrew, my producing partner, had become friendly with Shelto Copley, who obviously was the star of District 9. We knew him as a producer. One day he came into our office and said, oh, by the way, I'm an actor now. And we thought that wouldn't go anywhere. Anyway, we were a bit wrong about that. So he also helped introduce us to some of the South Africans who'd worked on District 9, who were then part of Dredd. So that and even though we then shot in some of it, or a lot of it in the studio in Cape Town, the exteriors and the idea of Joburg was actually the first thing that brought us to South Africa.
Also, there's a film industry there. They shoot a lot of commercials there. There's brilliant crews. District 9 blew us away. We could hardly believe what they achieved in that film for that budget. It was quite stunning. And there were a lot of good reasons to go there. And the crews, it has to be said, they were extraordinary, absolutely superb. So everything led us there in a way.
And we will take one more question from the person who has patiently been waiting over there with their hand held. I'm sorry, I can't tell your gender from here, if you even are a lady or not. So we'll just get your microphone and you can prove me wrong either way. Yep, yeah, that's you, yep.
You all right?
Oh, you're a guy, okay, I'm sorry. All right, nice hair though.
Cheers.
High five. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, with the slow motion stuff, did you kind of film it with high-speed cameras, or was it done with CGI, or a bit of both?
Both. The idea for the slow motion came from high-speed nature photography. Seeing the way a bird would flap its wings and you'd get some amazing reveal about this creature that was hypnotic and beautiful. And this coincided with a camera called the Phantom arriving, which meant that you could shoot very, very high-speed stuff in a film. It was very difficult to do that a few years ago for all sorts of reasons. And the slow-mo itself, I want to really give credit where credit is due here. There were two very particular teams working on that. One was the camera crew, which was led by Anthony Dodmantle, who's a really visionary director of photography, and in terms of the aesthetic of this film, he deserves more credit than anybody else. He was just a fundamental, crucial part of the filmmaking process. And there was also the visual effects team, which was led by Michael Elson and John Tum. And the slow-mo effects are a synthesis between the two. They're the beautiful high-speed photography that Anthony did on set, and then the VFX guys would take all the elements and put them together as a composite and heavily saturate the colors and add all sorts of particulate effects and blood sprays and stuff like that. So it was really a bit of teamwork between the camera team and the VFX guys.
Yeah, cool.
I think also it's interesting that the idea for slow-mo means that we can use slow-mo in a narrative, an organic way, rather than, say, in The Matrix, for example, which is obviously beautiful, but where it's more just a kind of action idea. In the movie, slow-mo is integral to the story.
Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been privy to this panel for the first time ever. Thank you so very much indeed for coming, and show that thanks by giving a big round of applause for these guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Been an absolute pleasure. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Negotiations over. The sentence is death.